Okay, so our salad's all set and ready to go, our vinaigrette's ready to go, and our beautiful Parmesan crisps. Now we're going to get our rice on the stove, so it's going to take a little time to cook. Remember, we're using whole grain rice, so it's really, really good for you, 3 stars, but it takes a little bit longer to cook. Have you ever cooked brown rice?
Yes,
it takes
a much nicer flavor.
It has a much nuttier, nicer flavor, but it takes a little while to cook. So, first thing we're going to do is fill up our pot with water, 2½ cups of water. Okay. We're ready to put the rice in with the water. Jude, why don't you do the honors and measure out 1 cup. That should do it for 4 people. Yep, there you go. And then we'll just sort of use your hands to do that, okay? Rice is tricky. And if it's a few grains extra, that's okay. That's all right. We'll just put it right in with the water. Okay? And we're going to bring it right over to the stove.
Ready?
We're going to put this on the stove and bring it to a boil. Tell me that, there you go. So on high heat. All right, bring it to it. We're going to wait till it comes to a boil, and then we're going to cover it. We're going to turn it down and simmer it. All right, for about 35, 40 minutes, just until the water's absorbed and it gets nice and soft and tender.
You don't have to stir it.
No, in between? No, I'm not going to stir it right now. All right. So we're going to flavor this brown rice up with some almonds, ginger, and scallions.
Sounds great.
Now, ginger has wonderful anti-inflammatory properties, and it's really good to settle your stomach. You know, ginger ale, right? Well, they had gorgeous, gorgeous hands of ginger at Hannaford today. I don't know if you noticed them. They were beautiful. So I grabbed one of these, and this is known as a finger of ginger. Not such a great finger, a straight finger, but more like a finger with some problems. But if we break off a piece of this, you can smell. Doesn't that smell gorgeous?
Yes.
And this fragrant. It's very fragrant, and it's known as a rhizome. It grows horizontally in the ground, and actually on top of the ground. And what I like to do is peel it, either with a vegetable peeler, or I can take a little paring knife and just peel around. So you have an option. You can either do that, or you can just peel it. And it works very nicely, too. Let me put it down on there. All right, so I'm just going to peel this quickly. Now, read on the recipe how much ginger we need for this.
1 teaspoon.
1 teaspoon. Okay, so I cut off this minced. And I'm not going to grate it. You can grate it if you'd like, but I like to have it chopped. A little bit more flavor comes out of it. And it's got great inflammatory properties. It's really got a lot of antioxidants in it, too, which is good. So we're going to cut all the peel off. The peel is tough, so you want to get rid of that peel. And then you're going to take your knife and you're just going to mince it. When we want to get to smaller, obviously this is not minced, this is just sliced. You want to just tuck the finger in, using your fingers to guide. See how I'm guiding? And I'm left-handed, so I'm going to choke up on the knife a little bit. I don't put my finger out like that. I sort of choke up on the knife, so I have a little bit of a handle, and I seesaw it like a rocking motion. This is known as the tang of the knife, and the tang goes right through the handle. A well-made knife has the tang that goes right through. And you tuck under and just do a seesaw motion as you gradually move back, sort of like that, so your fingers don't get cut. And then when all else fails, and it's not exactly minced the way you like, you do the old hand on top of the knife and rock and roll it. Right? You try that. Whoa.
Take it right over.
So try that, yep. There you go. See, that's easy, and then you can get the mince that you want. Really, really tiny little pieces. So when you think it's minced, we're good. The next thing we're going to do is slice up some scallions, and scallions are members of the, you probably know this because you're a gardener. What do you remember?
Allium.
The allium family? Yeah, very good. So they're members of the allium family, and they actually have antioxidant properties too. So they're really good for your heart, and they're really good for your health. And I'm just going to cut like that. See how it's sort of on the diagonal? So that'll look really pretty in our rice. All right, so now what we're going to do is, let's scoop them up and put them into our cup. And we're going to get some oil going, some canola oil. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is saute some of these ingredients up. We're going to saute up our ginger, just put a little heat into it, get a little flavor going, okay? Some scallions, and we're going to toast some almonds. So once the almonds are really sort of toasty and smell fragrant, you want to take them off because those essential oils that are in the almonds will actually toast up and really make it a beautiful nutty flavor on that brown rice. So we're going to add a little canola oil. Does it sound good?
It does.
Just add a little canola oil. All right, we're going to go to the stove. Okay, so I'm going to add my my ginger. Why don't you add your scallions right in there, all in at once, and we'll add our almonds.
All of them?
Yeah, add the whole thing, all those almonds. Do you want any more in there? We can add more. Almonds have monounsaturated fats, really good. Whoa, careful.
Yes.
You're a wild almond.
I know it. I'm right into
Wild
it.
woman, okay. So we're just gonna let that saute up till we smell our
Emerald
onions
might
getting
have
fragrant. You never thought to
Before,
put this
never.
combination? You know what, anything goes. And if you wanted to use shallots instead of scallions, you could. If you want to use pecans instead of almonds, you can. Any nut you want. Almonds are really good, anything. And canola oil I use because it is high in monounsaturated fats and it's a neutral oil. But if you wanted to, you could use a different type of oil. What type of oils do you like to use?
Grapeseed oil, that's
Grapeseed
light.
oil is light, very neutral in flavor, has a high smoke point. You could easily use that too. I like canola oil because it really does have a lot of monounsaturated fats in it, and it's good for your heart. So it raises the good cholesterol, lowers the bad cholesterol, which is good. Oh, it smells yummy. Doesn't that smell delicious?
That's great.
All right, so we're going to shut them off. And we're ready to just leave them and wait till our rice is done. All right, our rice is done. Looks nice and steamy. You can see the water is all evaporated. It's nice and fluffy. So now we're just going to add our sauté of scallions and toasted almonds and ginger.
And you add nothing else. It's just
Nothing
all
else. This is it.
flavored.
This is it. With the stir fry, you're not going to need anything else. Does that look pretty? Just save some for other people. Is it good?
Ginger in there.
Can you taste the ginger and the almond
Very
and the
nice.
crunch and the scallion? Okay, so that's ready to go. We are going to be working on our raspberry souffle sauce. And I hear raspberries are a favorite of yours in any shape or form, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Very, very small number of ingredients. What I did was I took 2 pints of raspberries, beautiful raspberries. They're gorgeous at Hannaford. Look at how beautiful
They're
they
so
are.
big.
They're big, they're gorgeous, they're sweet. They're full of anthocyanins or anthocyanins, 2 ways of saying it. And that's the color that actually gives them that bright redness. That's the pigment, and that's what's full of antioxidants. They really, really are very good for your health. They can actually fight disease. Okay, that's what researchers are finding. Aren't they nice? All right, so we're going to take half a cup of our red raspberry souffle. I took 2 pints of those, and I just put it in with a little bit of sugar, and I pureed it after I heated it up. So I'm just going to put half a cup in there. And we're going to use the rest for our red raspberry soufflés later. Okay? Now we're going to take a pint of beautiful raspberries and put them right in. And then we're going to take zest of half a lemon or so, maybe about, a half a teaspoon, depending on how lemony you like it. But raspberries and lemons really go very nicely together. So we'll just take a little bit of zest and we're going to rotate it. The zest on the lemon peel is just the outer yellow that's got the color. You know this already, right? And it's got
I can always learn more.
those beautiful oils. And keep rotating it. Only the yellow. Looks really nice in there, really pretty. Just a little hint of lemon flavor. Oh, it smells awesome. And then my little bit of red raspberry preserves, all right? And I'm actually only going to add a half a cup. And we're going to actually only bring it together on the stove just until the jam gets a little bit loose, because we don't really want to destroy our beautiful raspberries. And a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. We don't want to break up our beautiful raspberries because they're so perfect. And we're going to stir very minimally, very slightly. We're just going to get that jam nice and melted. That's all we're doing. That's it. Very slow. All right, so once that jam is melted, we're done. Really full of good stuff. And it has vitamin C and folate. Really good. Really the beautiful fruit. One of the powerhouse fruits. All right, so we just put our rice ingredients together. We put all our almonds and scallions and ginger together, and you tried it and gave it the thumbs up. And now we're really going to move on to prepping our dessert, our triple raspberry souffle. Ha! All right, really awesome, but really not that unhealthy. Not really an unhealthy dessert.
Unhealthy at all.
It's not. All right, eggs. Eggs are full of protein. We're using large eggs. And eggs are that perfect ingredient because they come in their own little package, right? Their own little and what we're going to do is I'm taking 3 bowls. We want yolks in one bowl, whites in another. I need 4 whites, 4 yolks. But I cannot let the yolk and the white come together. And you know why, right? What happens?
The whites won't whip.
The whites will not whip up because any type of fat will interfere with the air being forced into that egg white. And that's a great thing about eggs. They're loaded with nutrition. They have protein. They have fat. Now, which part of the egg has the fat?
The yolk.
The yolk. But it also has things like choline and lutein that are really, really good to prevent like macular degeneration and heart health. So I'm putting 1 part of the egg, after I cracked it through the center, 1 part of the egg into 1/2 of the shell. All right, and then I'm just going to put the shell down. I'm going to use my fingers. I don't know if you do it like this.
No.
Like a sieve. See how I sort of, and I'm going to pour the yolk in and give it a shimmy shake. Okay, see how it sort of separates? And they separate easiest when they are at room temperature because you're actually decreasing that surface tension. It relaxes a little bit at room temperature. I'm going to take the white and I'm going to put it into another bowl. All right, so that I'm going to take another egg and do it again. And the reason I'm doing that is if I mess up and a little bit of the yolk gets in, I don't have to throw out 2 eggs instead of 1. All right, so we're ready. We are ready. Now we're going to make sure our egg whites stay at room temperature, and they've been sitting at room temperature for a while. All right, so that's going to be perfect. So we're going to throw these out and wash up. We are now ready to make our stir fry, our main course, which is our beautiful spicy stir-fried shrimp and beef stir-fry. You ready?
I sure am.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, good. So I'm really excited. Okay, about a tablespoon of canola oil. It's going to get nice and hot in there. Okay, boy, you really are ready. Hold on. All right, so we're going to be careful because we have some of these liquid ingredients here. We don't want it to spatter. So once I go in, you're going to hear a nice little sizzle. On cue. Beautiful. I'm just going to stick that in there. All right, and we're going to cook this up until they're done. Now, the most tender parts of the beef are the ones that don't get any exercise. They don't have a lot of muscle to them, and they don't have a lot of fibrous tissue. So this is really the tenderloin, the loin, which is in the back. Okay, I need to get a clean bowl to put this in. Okay, so we just took our beef out. It is done, cooked beautifully. So we're going to leave that on the side. Doesn't need too long. And now I'm going to take my asparagus, our asparagus, and pour that all in there. And that's not going to cook very well in there. It's dry heat, so it really does need some liquid to give it a little steaminess. But I just took about a tablespoon of water, and I'm going to put it in there. I might just take a little bit more water, because we have a lot of asparagus today. All right, so now we're going to add our shrimp. All right, we're going to add it right in there. So good. Look at all those huge pieces of garlic and ginger. Yum! Yum, yum, yum. And we want our shrimp to get nice and pink. You don't really want undercooked shrimp, right?
No.
So that's going to take a couple minutes. Now you see how they're pinking up already?
Yes.
So they're taking a while. They cook very, very quickly. I think shrimp are very misunderstood. A lot of people are afraid to eat them. So they're afraid if they have a high cholesterol, they're afraid to eat them. But, you know, they are so good for you that they can be incorporated into a very healthy diet if they're eaten in moderation. And again, this is going to serve quite a few people.
Yes.
See how they're pinking up nice? They're still a little on the raw side. See, they're a little undercooked, so we're still going to leave them for a little while. Oh, that ginger.
That smells so good.
Unbelievable. And we didn't add any salt other than what was in the soy sauce. Super easy to make a healthy meal. And it doesn't take long. If you wanted to leave the beef out entirely, you could. But I thought we'd do a sort of a half and half
That's gonna be great.
combo here. All right, so now we're going to add the beef back. All right. All right. And now the magic happens. We're going to thicken it.
I better go get the neighbors.
I think we have enough for them too. We really do. You don't look like you have a lot of neighbors,
Well, I have
A few?
couple up here on the
which
hill.
is nice. Yeah. Okay, we're going to take, remember, our beef broth and our cornstarch, and I'm just going to have you just mix it up just a little bit because you can see the cornstarch is on the bottom. You can see that? All right. And sometimes you have to re-thicken. If you feel it's not thick enough, you can always add a little bit more cornstarch, but you have to add it to cold broth, remember. That's a tip. Never add starch to a hot liquid. And always bring it to a full boil or it will never reach its full thickening strength. Right, it's got to come to a boil too. All right, so whenever you're ready, just pour that over the top. Okay, now we're going to wait until it really comes to a bubbly boil, and that's when the full thickening strength of that cornstarch will happen. And if you don't like it that thick, you don't have to use too much cornstarch, but sometimes people like it very naturally thin and not as thick.
I like it.
Well, that's good. And you can see it does take a minute. Don't give up on it. Make sure you give it a minute to actually get very thick. Right, because all those juices are in there and you don't want to lose them. Because all that flavor sticks to the bottom of the pan, and I did not want to give those up. It's all part of the deliciousness. Look how colorful it is with the green and the brown and the beautiful pink on the shrimp. Let's say you want to do a little thicker, and I'm going to do that because I have so much asparagus and so much in there. What I'm going to do is just add a little bit more water. I'm just going to grab my spoon from in there. There was nothing else in it. Cold water, okay? Just a little. And this is known as a slurry. And this is a nice thing to know. If you want to thicken up a gravy, you just make this little slurry. You see that? It almost looks like what we did before with the beef broth. And you're just going to add it over, and then you can keep mixing. That would be very helpful if you did. And you just add it in, and that will thicken it up even more. Okay? And remember, it's got to reach its full thickening strength in order to really come to that thicker consistency. And you can see it is.
You can hear it.
Yeah, see that? Hear those bubbles. All right. It is.
It's soup.
It's soup's on.
There we go. Ding, ding. Good house doll.
Luncheon is served for you, madam.
It's so pretty. I love, there's a group, sometimes when I'm going with you, I allow a little extra time, and if you just keep going